Hello, I'm Esther Githu-Yuwat. It's Wednesday, December 14th. This is Africa 54. The U.S.-Africa Summit kicked off Tuesday in Washington, D.C. with a full agenda. Topics ranged from climate adaptation, energy, peace, security, and governance. A special forum highlighted African youth and the role of the diaspora. VOA's Mariama Diallo attended the summit and has this report.
The nearly 50 leaders invited by President Joe Biden, ranging from presidents to prime ministers to ministers of foreign affairs and the head of the African Union, arrived earlier this week. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris began the summit by attending the African and Diaspora Young Leaders Forum.
I strongly believe that the creativity and ingenuity of Africa's young leaders will help us shape the future of the world, and that their ideas, your ideas, and innovations and initiatives will benefit the entire world. The Biden-Harris administration intends to be right there alongside you, these young leaders, knowing it is the spark and determination of young people that will drive and move us forward.
The vice president announced the administration would invest an additional $100 million to expand the Young African Leaders Initiative, and the U.S. Export-Import Bank was entering new memorandums of understanding that will clear the way for $1 billion in new commercial financing in Africa. Later, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken was joined by U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and U.S. Agency for International Development Samantha Power in one of the forums to discuss peace, governance, and security with the presidents of Niger, Mozambique, and Somalia, and also Musa Faki Mahama, chairperson of the African Union Commission.
There's no one model of good governance. There's no one model for how to build strong institutions. I think we have to be informed by each other. We have to be informed by local conditions, local needs. And from the perspective of the United States, this is also not about a competition with others. This is not about saying to our friends and partners, you have to choose. This is about offering a genuine choice, offering a genuine partnership, and hopefully together building a race to the top, not a race to the bottom.
We want to understand what's really important to you. And going further, we want to make sure that we are doing the things to develop and empower your security forces and help you work on your security architecture in ways that you think benefit you, and that certainly will promote regional stability.
Mahama said the U.S. is providing support to countries like Niger, Mozambique, Somalia, and Chad, but he also noted that African armies are still under-equipped.
So no one is listening to the cries of Africa when it comes to the extension of this scourge.
We have considered that this scourge, to face this scourge, we need to combine various actions. The first one is to promote, in spite of everything, and precisely for those reasons, because we have a challenge in front of us. It's to promote democracy, to promote the rule of law, to promote the respect of human rights.
Day 2 of the summit Wednesday on U.S.-Africa business will focus on advancing two-way trade and investment partnership that bolster Africa's role in the global economy and drive advancements in key sectors. Mariama Diallo, VOA News, Washington.
For more on the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit, I'm joined live from downtown D.C. by VOA reporter Peter Clottey, who has been speaking to various African leaders at the summit. Peter, welcome to Africa 54.
This one will work? Okay.
Hey, Peter, who have you been able to talk to and what are they telling you?
Hi. Esther, it's nice to connect with you on this show. Well, there has been a number of deals signed here at the convention center where the summit is underway. Well, the massive $150 million deal signed between private investors through the U.S. Chamber of Commerce was announced today with the president of, or the government of Zambia. The Minister of Mines of Zambia was very excited because he knows the mines, which is in his constituency, the Chilubumbwe constituency, where he represents as a member of parliament, that he knows the mines very well, and he is looking forward to the number of jobs that this will create for them. And he was very excited, giving some remarks after the signing of the agreement. President Hakainde Hichilema, the president of Zambia, announced that Zambia is open for business, and he made it known to the administrator of the Chamber of Commerce that he needs more money to be invested in Zambia, and that his administration is open for business. As a former businessman himself who employed himself since age 26, he knows what it takes to create the enabling environment for businesses to come into Zambia. So he wants U.S. private investors to come to Zambia because Zambia is ready. We've also spoken to a number of people, including Ivor Ikowitz, who heads the Ikowitz Foundation, and he was very excited about the summit. He thinks it's very special in that President Joe Biden's administration has taken a rather bold step in engaging Africa on this platform. And he says that the key word he keep hearing is partnership, partnership, partnership. And he thinks that this is the best way that Africa can develop, and that countries can create jobs for the teeming youth. For development and so we are here still reporting on the latest development on deals being signed right here at the convention center in Washington, D.C.
Wonderful. Peter, thank you so much for your reporting. Keep chasing those African leaders for more. Peter Claudy is our reporter right there at the U.S. Center for this summit that is taking place in Washington, D.C. And earlier, Peter spoke to the president of the Prime Minister of Lesotho, Sam Matekane, on a wide range of issues, including his intent to provide water to neighboring countries, meeting with U.S. lawmakers, and extending of the soon-to-expire African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, for another 10 years.
Well, I would say it is an opportunity to meet and strengthen our relationship with the U.S. government, also with our development partners, business leaders, other African heads of state, and government. We will be able to get to something that will be able to make us work together. Yes, but as Africa and the U.S., I think the relationship is so good that we have to bank on that and make it much more stronger than where it is now.
Before we go, talk to me a little bit about AGOA and what role it will play in helping businesses and as well as individuals in Lesotho.
Look, AGOA has been very, very, very helpful to our country and to our nation as well. Because I think that is from 1967 when AGOA started in Lesotho. There's a lot of factories that have been built, which has given to a lot of jobs to our people. And they have just been working on the factories and improving their lives. Because I mean, what was happening is that they would do the stuff in the factories and export it to the U.S. We have just negotiated this morning with the senators that we need to extend AGOA by 10 years because it's coming to an end in 2025. So we have already started negotiations in that part. AGOA is very, very, very important to us as a country.
Yeah, what was the responses when you talked to the senators about the extension of AGOA?
Very positive. Very positive, I must say. Very positive.
Thank you very much.
That was VOA's Peter Clotty speaking to Lesotho's Prime Minister Sam Matekane. An Ethiopian man whose father was murdered during the country's war has joined a lawsuit filed in Kenya against Meta, accusing Facebook's parent company of fanning violence and hate speech in Africa. The case filed in the High Court claims that Meta responded inadequately to hateful content on its platform, especially in relation to the war in Tigray that has raged on for 2 years. One of the petitioners said his father, an Ethiopian academic, was targeted with racist messages before his murder in November 2021, and that Facebook did not remove these posts despite complaints. The petitioners are asking the court for the establishment of $1.6 billion compensation fund for victims of hate and violence incited through Facebook.
One of my clients, his name is Abraham Maareg. His father was murdered last year following the posting of 2 Facebook posts that called for the murder of his father. When he saw those posts calling for his father to be murdered, he reported them to Facebook severally. And not only did Facebook take over a month to get back to him, when they finally did, they said, yes, these posts violate the Facebook community standards, and we're going to take them down. But a whole year later, as recent as last week, one of the posts was still up on Facebook.
The lawsuit was also filed by Katiba Institute, a Kenyan rights group seeking changes to Facebook's algorithm, which they claim promotes and spreads hate speech. We're excited to hear what you think about Africa 54 and all our VOA Africa programs on our website at voaafrica.com. Still to come in our tech report, the 2022 Technology Pioneers list names 6 African startups. We'll tell you which ones after this break.
On the next Straight Talk Africa, leaders from countries across Africa are convening in Washington this week to take part in the US-Africa Leadership Summit, an initiative by the Biden administration to strengthen its relationship with the African continent. Join me, Heidi Adams, and my guests as we analyze the US-Africa Leadership Summit.
In other news, Ghana signed a $3 billion bailout deal with the International Monetary Fund on Tuesday in a bid to shore up public finances, but economic stability is still a way off. Ghana's annual consumer inflation recently hit a new 21-year high. South African opposition parties vowed to challenge a vote in parliament that rejected an impeachment inquiry against President Cyril Ramaphosa that could have forced his removal from office. Championed as a graft-busting savior, Ramaphosa survived Tuesday's vote thanks to support from the African National Congress. The families of 2 miners allegedly killed at a Tanzanian gold mine in 2019 on Wednesday launched a legal claim against the London Bullion Market Authority for certifying its gold. In Kenya, youths gathered at the foothills of the Mount Kilimanjaro over the weekend for the Maasai Olympics, an alternative rite of passage aimed at protecting wildlife that could also open the door to a professional athletics career. Here's David Doyle with more.
Hundreds of youths gathered in the foothills of Mount Kilimanjaro on Saturday for the Maasai Olympics. The event is an alternative rite of passage that has been promoted by conservationists. Young warriors, or Morans, like Tipabe Lakutu, compete in games including spear throwing, athletics and high jump.
The Maasai Olympics have been of great benefit to our community, especially this Moran cohort, because previously, as a rite of passage, Morans would kill lions. Our community has benefited from the Maasai Olympics, especially my Moran group. We focused more on physical training so that we could win medals and prize money.
Kenya Wildlife Services says there are around 2,000 lions left in the East African country. The biggest threat to them and other carnivores is conflict with humans. To curb the practice of lion killing, Maasai cultural leaders teamed up with Big Life Foundation, a conservation pressure group, to create the Maasai Olympics. Craig Miller is the foundation's chief operating officer.
The combination of compensation, Maasai Olympics, improved community benefits and employment through the Community Ranger program has had a huge impact on the lion population, and it's one of the few areas in Africa outside of protected areas where lion population is stable or growing.
Miller added that this year they have enhanced a partnership with Athletics Kenya. The hope is, he said, to embed the Maasai Olympics into Kenya's athletics programs and use it as a path for talented athletes to potentially pursue a professional career.
That was David Doyle of Reuters reporting. Africa is waiting with bated breath and rooting for Morocco to win tonight's game against France. Let's go live now to Doha, where our very able sports reporter, Sande Shomari, is standing by with his producer, Kali Abdu. Sande, give us a preview of what to expect.
Thank you, Esther. And as we here today with my colleague and producer, Kali, this is going to be a night to remember for so many Africans and the entire Moroccan people who are here tonight. So maybe I would say, I'll talk to Kali a little bit. Kali, what do you think we will see tonight? Because there's so many Moroccans in this place.
Well, let's talk about the team first. As you know, they're fearless. Be in Portugal, be in Spain, they're not going to be afraid of France, and you can tell the energy here. You see all the fans are very buoyant, very confident. So yeah, I'm going to see a lot of confidence tonight. We're going to see a lot of confidence from them tonight.
That is very true. And also, Kali, if you look at this game tonight, we are coming in where Morocco has not conceded a goal. By only one, it was their own goal by mistake. What do you think about that? And also the defense, and also the offense from Kylian Mbappe in France.
Yeah, it's solid team, compact in the back, as you said. Not one single goal conceded by the opposition. Amazing, So that's been the bedrock of their success in the tournament, and they have a very, very capable attack as well. They're not all defense. They have a very, very fluid counter-attack, just like your club team, Liverpool. Very quick. If you're not careful, they'll catch you on a break, and it could be good night. So France have their work cut out.
Oh, yeah. And for sure, also, Kali, maybe one thing we also want to mention is something was mentioned about the players, the French camp. What was going on? What did they say about illnesses?
They had illnesses, I believe Adrian Rabiot and Dayo Pemacano. They had illnesses. There's been a bug going around. Some journalists have died. It's been like a bug going around, something that has to do with a cold. I remember the Brazilian players, some of the Brazilian players complained as well. Maybe the heat, being under the AC all the time, I don't know, but that's what's going on in the
Something is going on.
Yeah, there's some kind of virus.
Well, That's it, Esther. We are waiting to see this night where it's going to be historical for Africa or not. Already, Morocco has made a mark getting to the semifinals. So let's wait and see. Back to you, Esther.
You know, Sunday, you can't just leave without telling me what Moroccans right there think about what's going to happen tonight. You know, back in Morocco, they are over the moon with excitement.
Absolutely. Moroccans in here, I had a chance to speak with a few of them who were in the metro train going to the stadium. All they told me is they are not fear. They don't fear. They're not scared of anything. They are ready to fight till the end because, as you know, they brought down two giants, Portugal, and also we saw Spain. So these guys are very confident. As Kali also put it out, these guys are ready. They are ready to face anyone coming their way. And I think, Esther, we need to wait and see what tonight will give these strength, these strong Moroccans. What are they supposed and determined to do? So let's wait and see. But also, Esther, keep in mind, there's a new ball. It's called Al-Helm, means the dream. This is a new ball that they will use only on the semifinals and the finals, not in the previous games. So this ball was made specific just for this World Cup. And it also environmental friendly. So it's something that we're gonna see for the players going forward for this one. So it's something really historic, I would say, Esther, for this World Cup that we're all going to see. Maybe Kali, quick before you finish, Esther, do you think who's gonna win?
I think it's going to be a tight one. I feel like it's going to be either a 1-0 type of game or it's going to be a blowout. So
like game.
Yes. So my heart says 1-0 Morocco.
1-0 Morocco. That's what your heart tells you.
But my
Esther.
head says...
Esther. Also, my heart right down here says 2-0 Morocco, but my head tells me it could be 1-0. Right? So who knows?
You guys, you know what? If Morocco wins, we're all going to be speaking Moroccan language, the whole of Africa. Indeed, a milestone for Africa. Viewers Sandy Shomari and Kali Abdu live for us from Doha, Qatar. In its 2022 Technology Pioneers list, the World Economic Forum, WEF, named 6 African startups companies shaping industries from edutech to fintech to e-commerce to agri-tech and many more. Tech giants such as Amazon, Google, Facebook, IBM, and Microsoft, including Chinese mobile phone company Huawei Technologies, have already seen the potential and are investing in Africa. So what's driving this innovation? For more insight, Africa 54 technology correspondent Paul Ndiho spoke to Nee Simmons, a tech entrepreneur business analyst based here in Washington, D.C.
Welcome to Africa 54.
Paul, thanks for having me here. It's great to be with you.
You've been a part of this greater network, the Africa Diaspora Network, where you are trying to literally take advanced solutions or tech solutions to Africa. What is it that you've been able to do up to this point?
When I was at the World Bank Group, I created the World Bank's African Diaspora Program, and it was a program focused on using global African diaspora professionals as a force multiplier to support providing technical assistance, mentorship for innovative solutions. Right? Yes, a lot of it was focused on tech and ag tech, that sort of thing. Fast forward today, we work with African universities, institutions, innovation centers to focus on deep tech challenges that we are dealing with. Everything from climate adaptation to clean tech to growing more food. The continent now is 1.4 billion people. As depending on who you talk to, some people say in less than 20, 25 years, we're going to have 2 billion, 2.5 billion people. Nevertheless, we need more African solutions, African innovation to solve African challenges.
When you talk about African solutions for the continent, what do you mean exactly?
We have all these Africans who have obtained PhDs from globally renowned institutions, and some of them are back in the continent. They're teaching, but they're also working on deep tech, engineering, science solutions, basic scientific research. These challenges that we have on the continent, The only people that can solve is our own, right? And African, because of our climate, chocolate tolerant climate, dry, arid conditions, we can provide solutions to the rest of the world that nobody has ever thought about. And also there's national security implications too. There are people who are developing innovative solutions that can be used to support cybersecurity. There's some really interesting things going on the continent that can really help solve challenges, but also support our allies.
You brought up a very good point. There are a lot of people who argue that the intellectual balance of power has been shifting in our favor. Now you have a lot of young Africans who come here for grad school, get their PhDs, like you mentioned, go back to Africa and contribute to their own countries. There are those also who say that there is no reason why we shouldn't have the next Bill Gates or Elon Musk or Steve Jobs coming from Africa, because there are opportunities there. You've done a lot of research in that space. What do you see on the ground?
There's innovations everywhere, right? There's a young lady in a village somewhere that's bringing innovation to bear to solve a challenge. There's a young kid somewhere who is playing with some toy, and they've used what they can in their community to make a small toy. As he or she grows up, how do we get him or her to come up with their own version of the African EV, automotive or vehicle transport?
When I've talked to entrepreneurs on the continent, people who are in that space, they keep talking about, in most cases, it's hard to scale from a small startups because, one, they don't have the resources. Secondly, they're having less investments. People are not investing in their startups, and maybe that has hampered their growth. What role can the diaspora play to sort of like solve that problem for these young startups?
On the continent, mostly in the English-speaking countries, you're seeing more these innovation, entrepreneurial, these entrepreneurial ecosystems, incubators, accelerators, and I would encourage the young people who have these interests and ideas to go on these places to test an idea. You'll find a mentor, you'll find technical assistance.
What do you think is driving innovation
in Africa? Because we have so many challenges, because we lack baseload power. Most countries are power deficient. To have an innovation ecosystem, it's very, very important that you have a support system, local support, and in your own diaspora.
Thank you so much for your time, Neil.
Thank you so much, Paul. Appreciate it.
That was Africa 54 technology correspondent Paul Ndiho speaking to Neil Simmons, a tech entrepreneur, business analyst based here in Washington. And that's our show. Have a good night.